Witch here, and today we're talking art magic. Now, I'm really excited to talk to you all about this topic because it is so diverse and there are so many ways that you can take it. As an artist myself, I have a few ideas, but with anything to do with witchcraft, if you have your own intuitive thoughts on the topic or what you want to do with it, then roll with that, okay? So take what you resonate with and leave the rest. Now let's start with what is art magic, okay? So this is quite a broad term, and the way I see it is anything that you create potentially with your own hands or however you create your art that has intent behind it, and it's there to cause a change, okay? It's there to create something bigger than the art itself. So we can have a painting and it is a painting and that's fine, or we can have some art magic woven into the painting so that when maybe the viewer looks at it, they feel the spirit or the emotions that the artist really wanted them to feel, not just from the visual, but from the intent and the other things that go in behind it and the way that the artist created it. For example, I'm a watercolor artist. So this is one of my art pieces that I did. This is Matilda the Magpie. Now this was painted before I was, let's say, a practicing witch. It wasn't something I was doing in my everyday, and it wasn't something I was thinking about in these sorts of terms. Now, I just simply painted this. I gave my character a little bit of backstory, and that was that. Now, if I was to repaint this today, what I might do is, as well as the backstory that comes with it, maybe put some sigils onto the paper with plain water before using any paint, letting that dry so it doesn't affect the outcome of the painting, and then painting on top of it. And those sigils could be something like to do with the story of the character itself, or if you use a power animal or something like a dragon, it could be sigils of power and fierceness. This one could be, I mean, she's a magpie. This one could be things about perceptiveness. Magpies, you know, they've got their eye on you. They see what you're doing, and they're a little bit cheeky. So, you know, you can put all sorts of things in it so that when somebody views your artwork, they may feel those things, or if they purchase your artwork, they may purchase, you know, power and vitality into their life, that sort of thing. So I think that's a really cool way that you can start to use art magic. Another thing you could do is use moon water in your paintbrush water, right? So where you wash your paintbrushes, or with the water that you mix your paints with. You could even potentially create moon paint. So like we charge moon water out in the moon, full moon, you could charge your paint. So, you know, possibly place your paint palette or even just your standard little paint tubes out into the full moon to absorb the energy of that particular moon. So that could bring a different element to your painting. So if you pop that out in a full moon in Leo, for example, you could then bring towards your painting all sorts of boldness and fun and creativity that it may not have had there before. Now, another way we can use art magic is simply by creating sigils. So sigils themselves, and this is not my own sigil, this is from one of the witch boxes, and this one is for vitality. So this is a very intricate symbol. My ones that I make are very simple, but you can use, you know, powerful sacred geometry. You can use your creativity to come up with a beautiful symbol or sigil like this one that you then use on your altar, or you could create it for a specific deity or a spirit or a saint that you are working with at the time. Something for the gods or the goddesses. Anything that you want that is going to enhance your practice. And again, you can make these for words, for affirmations, for all sorts of reasons. It is a powerful intention into a symbol, okay? And you can put that anywhere. Put that on your altar, on your body, on your shower wall. I mean, I put sigils on my shower all the time. There are lots of things you can do with sigils, and you can use that in your magic in a variety of ways. And if you create it yourself, it has even more power. Now, this is one of my favorite pieces. This is an oil painting. Now, oil paintings are a totally different kettle of fish. Now, if you were going to do an oil painting, again, you can put words, sigils, images, all in the base layers of the paint, or even in your primer if you're using a primer beforehand, same with acrylic. So you've got a few more layers there and a bit of a different medium that you can actually work with. You could put different colors underneath, all sorts of things, right? Affirmations underneath. Now, I like to obviously paint animals. Animals are my thing. That might not be your thing. But with animals, you could potentially, I could sell this with a little card that goes along with it, maybe talking about the spirit of that animal, how to invoke that into your life, how to bring the power of that animal into your life. So, and how to work with it. Almost like a oracle card or a tarot card. It's sort of similar, right? Because tarot cards are artwork, right? They are pieces of art. So artwork has a lot of power in the witchcraft community. And we have a long history of women who used their intuition and their channeling abilities to create artwork. And I think this is so interesting because when we channel or when we are connecting to the divine and doing divination, all of these things are the same as creativity. Where does our creative idea, where do these ideas come from, right? Do they come from us? Do we create them? Or are they part of something that we channel without knowing it? So I think creativity and intuition and divination, they are all interwoven together, okay? They are all part of the same feeling and the same vibe. This is actually, if you've watched my meditation video, painting is how I got myself into active meditation, which is how I got into standard inactive meditation to get my brain ready for that. And this is when my spiritual awakening happened, when I was painting for art therapy. So this is when I started to open myself up to those creative ideas, which is opening yourself up to the divine. And that's when my intuition started speaking and my whole life changed. So there is so much power in art. But what do you do if you're not a painter, right? Well, I've got some other tips for you as well. Maybe you knit or crochet. I don't crochet personally, but I do knit. I just do this because it's fantastic for anxiety to do something repetitive. Again, another form of active meditation. So if you are a knitter or a crocheter or a weaver or embroidery, those sorts of things, there actually is a long history of women who do these crafts and these arts. And what they would do is they would actually weave a mistake, like a purposeful mistake into their piece. And this was because they believed so much of your soul and your life force goes into the creation of a rug or a blanket or a tapestry that you need to give it away to escape so that you can collect all the pieces of your soul back together before you pass on from this life. And I think that is so cool. So things like weaving in a purposeful mistake that no one might see, that's a really great way you can, put something into your, a bit more intent into what you're making. You could also put all sorts of things like specific colors. I mean, we can get so creative. I have seen people that make blankets based on the temperature of the day, right? So they have certain colors for certain temperatures. So you get a whole year's worth of temperatures in a blanket, and it's really unique. Now, you could do something similar to this with maybe the moon or the tarot card that you pull. Every tarot card has a separate color, and then that is how you craft your blanket depending on which card you've pulled for the day. Like, there are so many things you can do to weave the magic of your everyday life into fabric. Okay, so there is lots of textile fabric magic stuff going on out there. Another thing was, I think back in the olden days, and especially in some of the Inuit communities, what they used to do was say if you wove a blanket, you had to make sure you were going to be alive to finish it, or give that to someone else who knew how to finish it properly, because your soul would be connected to that, and if you hadn't finished, your soul couldn't move on. So there's really cool fabric historical witchcraft going on there. So that's really fun. But definitely, I mean, you could do all sorts of things. Embroidery, you can weave little symbols in or sigils in where people may not notice it. There are so many cool ways that you can hide your magic into your art. Now, one last thing before we go today, and that is psychic artwork, which is a thing and it's totally cool. So there are some people out there who use their psychic senses and their mediumship abilities to create artwork. This is called spirit art, and it's a little bit similar to, say, automatic writing. That is where you allow a spirit to take over your arm and they will write. So it's a form of channeling. Now, what some artists do is they may draw the spirit that they are talking with, draw or paint. So you could see a art medium, and not to be confused with using the different mediums of art. This is mediumship through art. and they will connect with your loved one and draw a picture of them, and you wouldn't have shown them a picture or anything. So that is evidential proof that they have seen or connected with this person. So there is that form. There is other people who channel images and symbols and things from spirit guides or their spirit team or all sorts of beings and angels, that sort of thing, and they put that into their work. I'm going to link a couple of people. There is a great section of the book Waking the Witch by Pam Grossman where she talks all about art history and witchcraft in pop culture, and I'm going to pop a couple of the artists that she mentions into the show notes here because they are definitely worth a look at and looking into the history as well. Highly recommend that book also if you're looking into anything about the witch as an archetype historically and in pop culture. Fantastic book. It just goes through everything. That's all I have for you today. I hope this inspired you to get creative, and I would love to hear about your projects and what you're planning to do with your art witchery. As always, please like and subscribe and shoot me a comment. I love hearing from you guys. You can find me over on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, on Patreon. Also, if you sign up on my website, you'll get links to my latest blogs and my YouTube videos so you never miss a beat. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.